Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Can you hear me?
Here we go.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Dope.
Oh, dude, stoked for tomorrow. It's gonna be a lot. It feels like, but kind of curious to see what's going on in Decentraland. I was in there like messing around with some of the games that they had shared as options, and performances just so smooth in there.
Yo, nice. Yeah, maybe you can give us the the ground floor alpha on what can be expected over there. I haven't been in are we recording?
Yeah.
I haven't been in Decentraland much lately, other than when we've been over there with Bay and Fractillions for that art exhibit a while ago, which was phenomenal, honestly. But this Bay is a great tour guide, so I'm excited to check out what's going on. But yeah, man, you've been sort of in there and everything. What's going on? I feel like Decentraland hasn't had a whole lot of games up until this point, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just sort of out of the loop.
Yeah, I think we may have just been out of the loop. It looks like the DCL Foundation has been putting a lot of funds towards game developers, in-world game experience developers, with the Decentraland Music Festival 2023, which is what we're going to get a preview of tomorrow in the pre-WIP portion of the WIP, is going to talk about that. But they have this array of games set up. I was in a stream trying to interact with objects that results in making music. All the games are music themed. So I was just trying to figure out what actually makes the most sense for our group. I think that will be the best one. It's what Bay recommended. You can pick up salmon in the stream. You can pick rocks up, and the current that goes down, they got a steady cadence will actually create a beat. So I have no idea what kind of chaos we're going to create, but it's you're going to see everyone in the stream together, picking up fish, slapping them, hitting rocks, jumping on lily pads and stuff like that. So that should be cool. And it was
so fun.
Yeah, and it was just so smooth. I remember years ago, DCL was the one that was burning up everyone's laptops, but actually again, it was just me there by myself, granted, so we need to put a few more bodies in there.
Probably
Exactly. But it was the smoothest experience I've had, maybe after Hyperfi in a long time. Shout out to CryptoVoxels too for actually becoming way more performant as well. But it's cool to notice these differences after a while.
Dude, absolutely, man. I feel like CryptoVoxels is probably the most lightweight, at least on my end, and snappy and everything. I feel like we haven't had a problem with getting into spaces there or bringing a whole lot of people in there in a very long time. Actually, you almost take it for granted now that it'll work, which was absolutely not the case early on. So that's come a long way. Dude, I saw Eclectic post something about this, and we've been talking about this for a long time about how people, I guess, I don't know if he was saying people are starting to realize that just having sort of a static art gallery doesn't drive traffic on a consistent basis. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he was getting at, which is sort of been something we discovered a long time ago with the WIP, which is always why we try and have a fresh location every week. And the WIP parcel itself wouldn't be what it was if we couldn't make that fresh each week, so and so I think I'm saying all that to say that I feel like a lot of platforms are sort of taking notice of this and trying to proactively light a fire under some gamified elements that'll keep people returning. Because I mean, you and I, are both big fans of the art scene and everything, but but we both know that after bringing an audience to a really dope art gallery one week, you can't repeat that performance many times concurrently until some time has gone by and maybe something's changed and you got some fresh bodies up in there to come back and everything. So I don't know, it's cool, man. Decentraland's been around forever. So and the subject of much like ridicule for a lot of the decisions they've made, but it would be dope to see them sort of come out the other side with some awesome stuff for us to hop in and play around with.
No, exactly. And to your point, like echoing what Eclectic said, it's funny to see people come around to what we saw years ago. And it's also awesome to see that realization as we have far more kind of builders and folks that have experience creating these very compelling, dynamic, in-world virtual experiences. So that that's what we're able to kind of orient our show around, and what other projects are focusing on when they're creating in these virtual spaces, which is what needs to happen. It's not just like, here's a gallery, we're gonna say a lot of words and have people sort of fuck off in the background. It's really thinking, okay, well, we can have the gallery show. It's really powerful, but we need to make sure that there's a reason other than that to be in world too. So that could be like the scavenger hunt, or like a Misfit Pixels fucking amazing zombie shooter that people are playing around with everyone else present. It's those extra little bits that really, really make the difference and are the reason why people are excited about virtual spaces to begin with. It's that fun factor. It's being able to do so many crazy things in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's a great point that you made, man, about other people starting to come to this realization, basically giving us more tools in our toolkit and more fun experiences to participate in and serve up to our audience on a regular basis. Yeah, man, it's I feel like the virtual art galleries, when they were sort of a new concept and a novelty, that just going to one of those was enough. And we've talked about that before. And for people entering the space, I think it's a great low entry point where you basically just need to be able to maneuver to be able to experience a taste of what's going on. But once you get past that, man, it's okay, cool, I can go to a virtual art gallery on my computer, but there are a lot of other ways to virtually experience art in a way that's not too different from the real world. And so that sort of brings back to the point of what is the point of the metaverse if not to serve up a different experience than something that we're accustomed to, or what you're used to, or what you can do in real life. Yes, having a virtual recreation of something like that is dope, but I feel like we've had virtual recreations of lots of things for a long time, and so yeah, man, layering on that, why do people want to come back to this space? What is interesting about this particular event? And dude, it could be something. Brookhawk just posted something from my birthday party last year, which was literally just we were just playing Christmas music, and I changed everyone into various sized avocados. And it was fun, and that was it, but it was weird and different and interesting, and not rocket science or anything, but I don't know, you gotta do something different. And I feel for so long a lot of these platforms sprung up, and we're just hoping that the community would do that, but the community is full of artists, and they built a bunch of art galleries, and the game developers didn't make games, so now you got to do something.
No, yeah, exactly. It's sort of the natural progression of things, and things just sometimes take longer than you expect. to start happening and coming around. But I feel like we're lucky now that we kind of bided our time and didn't leave and stuck with it and kept trying to pour as much fuel on the fire as we could with our regular thing. So that's dope. But yeah, I mean, and we're talking about the pre-WIP portion of tomorrow's show too. We have a huge engagement with Broadside and Chorus to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. You got Eclectic Method jumping in for a couple sets. Vector Meldrew is going to jump on the mic again. Excited to hear all the updates for Broadside, because again, that's a whole nother project crew that have their head in that same kind of virtual space that we do, focusing on the avatars, focusing on games, and just doing fucking fun, weird stuff in the metaverse. So excited to see what happens on that portion of the show too.
Dude, I feel like that crew is a great example of someone who, like a crew that understands the same thing that we do regarding like creating, fun, unique experiences each time. And they do it in a different way than we do. And it's dope. I mean, Vector has like his own like incredible skill set that he, just sort of already had in existence and brought to the metaverse and everything. But they do it well, man, and have been around for a long time. I honestly had no idea what to make of their whole thing when they, initially hit the scene, and they came on like very, very strong and everything. And having been, being like a, jaded motherfucker and having seen a lot of projects come on strong, I was, always sort of like, sitting in the back row and trying to see what happens, before I make any strong opinions on anything. But dude, the fact that they've been out here for a year and, are trying to make a big deal out of it. And anytime they roll through to something, man, they come out like, in force and everything. So that's cool, man. It's cool to see like, I was mentioning something about that, like, the other day, like, they've been around for like a long time during a time where it was very easy to just sort of like give up hope and, not stick to it and everything. And, they weren't one of these ones, and no judgment on people who, are sort of drawn back to the scene now that, it's getting a little bit more hype, but they never really wavered like the whole time, man. They've been out here and props to that.
No, 100%. I mean, Vector is a madman. He's awesome. And the whole cult crypto art, again, like that's a whole other through line that runs through Broadside and that whole crew, which is just another juggernaut in this space, full of artists and collectors and people that just spending more of their lived lives in the virtual. So it's just so cool, man, to see this start to kind of really make waves and to spread far beyond like what we've been doing. That's the best. Like no one wants to be just like the only one on a lone island in the middle of the sea, right? Like we're starting to see that sort of like Pangea moment, or we're starting what initially led to Pangea, like all the continents kind of that had previously been so far away from one another coming together. People are like, oh shit, I see the Broadside Island starting to come ashore. This is dope. Like, hey, we're gonna have parties soon. Like, it's just cool to have that interaction, that connection. But I mean, outside of the WIP, what else have you been focusing on? Anything else popping up? People, I know I see a lot of people coming back. People shouting like bull market again. I don't know if it's a bull market or just pre-Thanksgiving pump or whatever. But
oh, dude, I want to scratch to that point you just made, man, because I feel like we didn't have like, we keep functioning under the assumption that like, we're sort of at the beginning of another cycle. So like, let's just sort of run with that because, let's hope it comes sometime. Right. But anyway, I feel like based on that assumption, man, like, at the start of the last, like, big cycle and everything, we really didn't have those like continents, countries, whatever you want to call them, these sort of like enclaves of people who are, from similarly like-minded communities, meaning, people who are genuinely interested in the tech, interested in NFTs, like playing around with the technology, finding other people who are also interested in those things. And, you mentioned the called crypto art, that obviously has like an art lean to it. Broadside has their, own sort of lean to it. WIP has our own lean to it. But, there's like, many of these out there now. But I feel like when the last hype cycle happened, and we've sort of hit on it, like, the other week, like, I feel like the larger community was much more fragmented, and there weren't really these like sort of trusted enclaves, right? Like I'm not like directly involved in the cult crypto art, although I've done things, with some of them in the past, and did some weird like avocado ceremony in the temple that Neon Glitch built last year. But like, if someone from that community like approaches you, that sort of comes with like some sort of credibility, and maybe cold crypto art isn't like the greatest example, because I think they're one of these situations where like anyone can sort of claim whatever or not. Man, who knows what goes on with cold crypto art? But I know like a bunch of the homies are like very participatory in it, and I trust them and I trust their judgment, and by proxy, it goes a long way in this industry. And same thing for Broadside, man. That's like another community. Like a bunch of people in there. They are very passionate about that community, and by proxy, you can you meet someone who you don't already know, but they're deep in that community too. There's like a certain level of trust that comes with that, and I feel like that's so needed. Like for Mighty Moose has been trying to sort of rally some people to preserve the narrative of like basically how crypto art and the early NFT scene was born, so it doesn't like get lost in the shuffle. And there are other people piling into that conversation, and I'm like, dude, I feel like the community in general that is like really, really passionate and has been here through thick and thin is like way more like experienced, organized, like involved with each other this time around. And I don't know, man. I feel like it's just a good sign leading into whatever's to come, that it doesn't seem like it's going to end up being like this mad independent scramble like it sort of felt like last time. And maybe I'm projecting, man, but and maybe I'm just more organized. I don't know, man. Interested to hear your thoughts.
No, first of all, like shout out to the homie Mighty Moose. He just had a big sale. His X copy of The State of Us blue variant for an OG known origin mint just sold, I think, for around 30 ETH last night.
Oh shit, good for him, man. I saw him posting about some sale that he was thinking about making, and I assumed it was his squiggle that he's posting about periodically.
Yeah, he does post a lot about that. He has a great collection. But he also has a ton of those old KO X copy mints. And yeah, an offer came in for The State of Us. It's the one where it's like that figure looking at the phone in a lightning filled night, and like when the lightning strikes, it illuminates to show that the person holding the phone is the actual one that you're seeing looking at. It's like this nice recursive piece by X, one of my faves, also in my collection. Shout out if anyone has a bid comparable to that. No, but what you're saying though before that, where we are in this space and like that feeling sort of more of us, folks that have been active longer, kind of being on our shit more, having at least a couple cycles under our belts, especially when it comes to the NFT side of things. I think we're all better positioned so that when and if like this momentum keeps going forward, which I don't know if it'll do so like from now, like are we in the bull or not? I think that's still an open question. But if it does, more people around us that we've been connected with that we really vibe with, what I guess other people will call OGs or whatever, are more visible. And then that just helps us stand out a little bit more and helps prevent some of the interlocutors or the folks that had just been like kind of biding their time, waiting to come in and pounce and like take advantage of a lot of people with their audience or reach or whatever. It helps mitigate against that sort of shit, which will always happen. But it just, you have to, as long as the good folks are more visible, I think we're going to be good. And I do think that more of us are visible and have been steady grinding and have like that more public kind of connection than we may have had previously, or at least focusing on it more, which helps with that attention and helps with people that may be new entrants to kind of see, oh, okay, like these folks look like they have legit accounts, like they have like very good followings, blah, 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 blah. They're posting, sharing, getting retweeted, reshared, blah, 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 by like the good ones that stand out noticeably for quality and consistency and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like this is our like rising tide lifts all the ships like type of moment where, you know, if we can all sort of, you know, have a rope to each other's ship type of thing, like, you know, we're just much more well organized, you know, as a community to take advantage, and not in a negative way, man. You know, just like sort of seize the opportunity that, you know, might be coming up, and it doesn't even mean like, you know, just you know, dumping a bunch of bags or whatever when the price goes up, right? I feel like a lot of people who have been around as long as we have, and we've sort of come up with our, you know, want to be here to stay, right? And it's tough to see, like, you know, people and projects, man. You know, we talk about async is like a great example, man. It's tough to see, like, you know, people you really respect, you know, just be forced to like throw in the towel because you know the money has run out, and it's not just them, man. I feel like it's been like dominoes over the past, you know, 6 to 8 months or so. We're just seeing like a lot of people just be like, I got to go get a job. I don't have the runway left to keep doing this in the short term and everything. Or, you know, a lot of people feeling like they're going to have to go do, you know, something outside of Web3, you know, in order to keep the lights on and everything. And that sucks, man. And I feel like, you know, circling back to like the rising tide thing, man, you know, I feel like, you know, beyond just dumping bags, there's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge who have been here for a long time, who have like a lot to contribute to the industry, man. Like, you know, 4 or 5 years, you know, this has been like, you know, a thriving thing, you know, a niche thing, but like a thing that if you didn't start learning about then, or didn't stop learning about from then until now, you've just like accumulated a tremendous amount of knowledge, right? And there's like a lot of people out there who, you know, I feel like, you know, maybe don't have heavy bags from back in the day, maybe don't have a way to like, you know, directly monetize their skill in terms of like making art or whatever. But I'm like, dude, the knowledge that these people have from being entrenched in this space is like, I hope something that gets taken seriously, because, you know, I feel like last hype cycle was like a great example of a lot of big players coming in and like really not knowing what to do, and like assuming that they knew what to do, and maybe, you know, they have also stuck around and learned from that experience, and there's something to be said for that. But I'm like, man, there's a lot of people. I mean, you know, just knowing how fast the space moves, like, you know, you miss 6 months worth of stuff, and it's not like insignificant, you know, and that's just 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's where people really taking advantage of the strengths of like social media and the public forums that we all sort of congregate within at least a couple times a day or a week or whatever, like Twitter, for example. Like sharing real value, like thoughts, lessons learned, reflections, conflicts, right? Like going back to Mighty Moose, great example. Open about like, I don't want to let pieces go too frequently, even if this is like a big offer. Really kind of conflicted about this, don't know about it. Like open sourcing like those real feelings and like the experiences that if you're in the space long enough and you are lucky enough and fortunate enough to acquire certain works that are sought after, like you're gonna go and be in that same position. And from the outside, before you experience it, it seems like a no-brainer. But once you're actually there, it's like all these thoughts start running through your mind. Like, oh my God, like this is a lot of money, but like, will it go higher? And then it's like, but what if it doesn't? What if this is like the highest offer I'll ever get on this? And like, I look back and like all these thoughts, right? And talking about that openly, publicly is really helpful for a lot of other folks. That can't be understated. It is so important. And for real, honest, like thoughtful people to do that, it's just even more valuable and helpful to the growth and maturation of the space. And seeing more people engage in that discourse or sharing blog posts or like analysis, blah, 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 blah. It's so important. I mean, I've gotten back to writing 2 more publicly, thanks to Mirror, honestly. Like putting writing on chain, I think is really cool. Sort of feels like the future. It helps with discoverability, blah, blah, blah. But like putting out regular work every Thursday, a little series called Thursday Thotties is sort of in that same vein of what we've seen folks like Mighty Moose and stuff like that, trying to share a little bit of insight when possible, just also to be a little bit more visible and regular for folks that are new to help them on their way.
Dude, I agree with you like 1,000%, man. Like what you are doing, you know, writing on Mirror, man. I read your stuff and it's great. And what Mighty Moose is doing, man. And, you know, I feel like people need to know that there are real people here, right? And I feel like that was sort of like tough to sift through, and maybe it will be again, man. But I agree with you 100% that you know, that authenticity just lends like you know, the credibility ripples outward from Mighty Moose, similar to what we were saying, man, right? Like, you know, then you know, you trust this dude. A friend of Mighty Moose is a friend of mine, type of thing. Same with you. Dude, this is actually like sort of a segue, but on the same wavelength, man. So I picked a fight with Skeeny a few days ago, maybe it was Friday or whatever, and with the encouragement of Johan baiting me to you know, pick a fight with Skeeny, and I'll talk about that in a second, man. So anyway, man, I picked this fight with Skeeny, and it went pretty well. So I've been like in the Meme Explorers Discord, just sort of stalking and lurking a little bit, just to, you know, see what's up, see what people are talking about, and I'm watching like Johan like talk about basically the direction of the Meme Explorers project, like in the general channel in Discord with a member of the community, and just like listening to suggestions, asking them what they think about different things, like, you know, and I'm like, dude, that like building right out in the open with the community is so good and difficult, I think, for a lot of people, and it seems like, and we do it pretty well, man, with the WIP and everything, and I think that's one of the reasons it's like sort of stood the test of time. But a lot of people don't do that, man, and that transparency that you deliver when you're writing on Mirror, or that Mighty Moose is delivering when he's, you know, just sort of talking to the community about this like big decision and everything. You know, it's such good, like, I don't know, in a space where like trust is like so difficult to earn and find, it's like very refreshing to, you know, witness a lot of that going on.
Yeah. And I think we also need to give a shout out to Ray Buckton, helping us step our game up on that same front, like with what he's doing for the WIP, the weekly WIP blog over on Mirror as well, right? Like that, it's not the easiest thing. And like we've tried throughout our history to do more of it, but like we self-admit on the regular, like we're the worst self-promoters.
Sucks so bad, man.
And
sometimes people point out something we should be doing, and I'm like, oh my God, we're so dumb. I mean, you and I have had that discussion a few times. We're like, oh my God, how do we overlook like just this simple thing?
Yeah, no, but I think a lot of people fall into that trap too, or they're like, nah, people will eventually find it or whatever, right? And sometimes that really does happen serendipitously without like a lot of initial action or promoting or marketing by oneself. but most often times people don't just happen to discover the good stuff. They really do. You need to work to get it in front of people. So yeah, no, it's always a work in progress too. Like there's no one way that is going to work for time immemorial. Like something may work today, won't work tomorrow. Something that's not working today could end up clicking tomorrow. So it's that iterative approach, and then just feeling what works and what feels good with you and like your team and stuff like that.
Dude, our team is like quite the team now, man. I was like saying it to you in DMs a couple days ago. Like, dude, with the recent additions, I mean, the team has always been solid, man, and a lot of them have been with us like forever. But like seeing the additions of like, you know, Fractillions and then Ray, and now we got Metageist. Got a couple like, you know, mini WIP Crew DM channels going on with the, you know, people who overlapping skill sets and everything. I'm like, dude, this is Brookhawk's got this like, you know, donation thingy that he's been, you know, whipping up that looks like nice and professional and everything. I'm like, ooh, man, this is like very exciting. It's like, it's like exciting whip times, man.
It's like we just keep leveling up thanks to the folks that want to be a part of the WIP Crew. And again, like it's a pure passion project for all of us. None of us are making money, even though like it's awesome to see the Ballistic Bananas, the Brookhawks, who's also like part of the crew, like just continue to support us through the WIP Meetup.eth. But it's exciting. I think a lot of people see and feel like what we have seen and felt for a long time and want to be a part of it. And that's the whole spirit of the space. Like, you are excited about something, fucking help out. And it's really that easy. And we just make it as easy as possible for folks to do that. But we're getting serious, like, subject matter experts in the fold. Like with Metageist, with the just the virtual asset, the GLB sculpting, OG artists, and being in that side of things for so long. Like, he's been an inspiration for us and what we've been doing at the WIP. So to have him on the crew, and excited to see what he'll end up doing is amazing. But we got great writers like Ray that have joined the team, carrying the torch from Two-Door back in the day, who was that kind of like in-world journalist in our wing, writing about some of the lightning strikes that are happening every Thursday. It's awesome to see. We have like the OG audio master with Dragonate. Like I feel like everyone else that's running virtual events, they've just either they bring in Dragonate or they're just taking the lessons learned and best practices from him to incorporate to make sure that no one has like the death to audio problem situations that plagued us for so long back in the early days. But it's in Fractillions making moves, and fucking Paradox with the in-world videographer, which is again like such a pioneering practice that it's everyone that does virtual events, they take these commemorative pictures and stuff like that. But Paradox is just doing that in such a refined way with the weekly videos. But it's also cool to see how fluid the crew is too over time. Like, shout out to Trippy Yogi, Sandy Meows, Carolina Duh, right? Like, I still consider them parts of the crew, but when life happens and you can't like participate for whatever reasons, like, you can dip out and it's all good. It's still all very much a whole ton of love. And to see this sort of organization, very informal as it may be, but still like proper organization form around us over time like this, it's fucking awesome because it feels so right?
Yeah, dude. I feel like there's this really good vibe right now, and I think you said it first, and then Metageist stole it, or like vice versa, about like this infinite video game concept or whatever, and that keeps like popping in my head, and I feel like there's this sense, and I feel it too, man. I feel like there's this collective sense with the WIP that like we're all building something, like we're building in the direction of something, and nobody quite knows where that ends up, and maybe there isn't like a particular like destination or end goal or whatever, but we keep like adding Legos to the puzzle, like slowly, or Legos to the pile or whatever, like slowly over time, and they're adding up, to something,
Making
more
a pie out of puzzles or something like that.
What's that?
Or making a pie out of Legos or something like that.
Yes, exactly, man. And our Lego pie, man, it happened with, let's just go, the last three people who hopped on the crew, Fractillions, Ray, and Metageist, man, both, all three of them, are just like, these are our skills. We want to help out. Can we use our skills to help you guys out in some way? And it's just like, hell yeah, like in whatever way. And so I don't know, man, I feel like this idea of like, there's what, like a dozen of us now or something like that on the crew, like helping out in some way or another. And this sense that we're all like collectively building in a direction, and sort of, joining forces, dude, a lot of like, projects and companies and like, anything has a really hard time like maintaining a crew of this size and, sort of that has this spirit of like dedication. I mean, you can't even like artificially manufacture that, by like paying people, which, we have shout out to the people who have been like throwing some donations our way. I feel like I can't keep saying we're like, completely broke, because that's not like entirely true. But it's the, hopefully the drips that start the waterfall type of thing. But anyway, man, it's good, man. It's a good culture that we have going on here. And I feel like more people are starting to pile onto it.
Yeah. And there's just so much to talk about on that front, right? Like Fabiano and Patrizia, what they've been doing week in, week out for Dude, this year.
For so long, man.
With their voxel game. And it goes back to 2020, like when the WIP kicked off, like Fabiano put together some work for the WIP then too. Like the show, man, like with the afties, it's an institution at this point. I love how polarizing it is. Like it's awesome. Like it's part of the show though, and he's fam. And then like Easy, man, like I love that dude to death. Being a part of it, so cool. Foxy with the vibes, the pre-whip, and Johan, the whole meme team, man. Like it's just fucking awesome. And I hope the organization, the actual organization around these shows, I feel like we've really been leaning in to that and emphasizing like how much of the organization matters to put this together, and how each individual member of the WIP crew plays their part here. And I hope other people really do see that, so that they're like, when they go and do their thing, they put and try to assemble a team as dank as this. Because that's what it's all about. Doing cool shit with the team, doing cool shit with your internet friends, playing and taking part in this infinite video game that's unraveling in front of all of us, it's everything.
Dude, it's cool to see. I feel like at this point, for a long time, we were the only ones doing what we do, right? There's just, the space was so nascent. And, at this point in time, there are a lot more people who do what we do, who have tried to do what we do, who have been to similar things like we do and everything. And I feel like, it was, having no basis for comparison for so long, or I guess having a basis for comparison now, like really helps us stand out, because our events like really are well produced, man. And to be able to consistently deliver high quality events is not an easy thing to do in this space. And so, I feel like there's, slowly becoming more appreciation for, just being able to pull off a smooth event in such a quick turnaround of time. A week later, we're pulling off another massive big event that's going to be completely different than the previous one, on repeat for 4 years or whatever. Dude, I got to tell you about this fight with Skeeny, man, because it's fucking funny. It's like a hard transition, but I don't want to like, you know, just continue to fucking pat ourselves on the back, although we're like so dope and so OG.
Yeah, patting ourselves on the back is like my favorite pastime.
It is, dude. It's mine too. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
No, I've taken a lot of lessons from you. It's important to do that.
So, yeah, hey, sometimes you got to talk it up, man. Otherwise, you know, people don't have large attention spans. You got to remind them. So Johan provoked me to provoke Skeeny, right? He's like, you know, what if we put avocado on, you know, so back up, man. Skeeny got Skull trending on Meme Explorers by, you know, basically just shilling it, and he like created some cool art or something like this. I might not have it completely correct. But anyway, man, you know, Meme Explorers has meme.com, which is like, sometimes I forget about that. And I'm like, that's sort of like insane. Anyway, so Skeeny got Skull trending. And you know,
real quick on that, like the story behind meme.com, right? So marble cards, like minting back in the day, all the gas vapors that were going into the wallet back then on the marble card side of things, like led to the acquisition of meme.com, which is kind of epic. Anyway, go.
Yeah, I mean, like, what a domain name, right? I don't even like really care about domain names, but I like know a domain when I see one. So we put avocado. So avocado becomes a officially listed meme on Meme Explorers, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pick a fight with Skeeny to see if I can topple Skull. And Skeeny had no idea it was coming, but you know, Skeeny is fam, and I knew he wouldn't care and would think it was funny. And so it was like Friday, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick this fight with Skeeny, and then you know, I got a bunch of stuff to do over the weekend. You know, I can provoke Skeeny once or twice over the weekend. And then I'll start like really digging into him on Monday, and we'll see if we can, you know, push this avocado trend into existence. Anyway, man, Skeeny, like, I feel like my post was out there for like 5 minutes, and Skeeny just starts churning out art of like skeletons roasting avocados on the grill. He's like, I'll help you defeat me, and just starts, you know, putting out all this. You should see it, man. And then like Valiant joins in, and Valiant starts putting out like avocados versus skulls, like, you know, fan art of the battle. Or so anyway, so like all this stuff is like flying around, and so Skeeny essentially like joined this fight to fight himself and get avocados trending, man. And I think it was like 48 hours or something that like, and I hadn't even done anything, man. I actually felt like sort of bad. I was like, I had all these plans on like how I was going to like antagonize Skeeny and everything, but Skeeny just like jumped the gun and like immediately started fighting himself in this like avocado battle. And he did it more than I did, getting avocados trending on meme.com. So now he minted one on 01 and everything. Some of the like avocado skull like battle pieces or whatever that he made. And I'm like, dude, like, first of all, I don't know what I was thinking, like, you know, picking a fight with like a real artist, right? Like I can like, you know, I know my way around AI, but like Skeeny's just like churning stuff out and everything. So anyway, man, Skeeny like kicked my ass by like kicking his own ass. And, you know, big shout out to Skeeny for joining in the stupid fun that we were having and getting avocados trending.
That's awesome. I saw the avocado trending. I was like, what the F is this? Now it all makes sense to me.
Yeah, you know, just a fake fight with Skeeny where he beat me by beating himself. Dude, you gotta love this space, right? This is what's so great about this space. We've touched on this a few times, man. Like, you know, progressive technology used for max weirdness is my favorite.
There we go. It sort of feels like a title there. I don't know. Dragonate, check me if I'm wrong, but also like a solid place to wrap this up.
Yep. Let's do it, man. Good one.
Dude. Awesome chat. Looking forward to tomorrow. For folks listening, the following week will be Thanksgiving, so we'll be off, but I think we'll probably still record an episode of this. We'll see what happens, see how spicy we're feeling.
And then, do we tell them?
Do it.
The 30th is WIP's Giving, and so Jen actually, I don't know, somehow we booked Boombox Head to do something with us for WIP's Giving on the 30th. And now we got, Fractillions and Metageist in tow, and, some oomph to put behind whatever we're going to do for WIP's Giving. And then that Boombox Head told Jin, and Jin was also down to do a thing for WIP's Giving. But then, like, separately and randomly, Jin hit me up and was like, I really want to do a Metaverse float parade. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. We should do it at WIP's Giving. And Jin was like, oh yeah, I'm involved in WIP's Giving. So anyway, so the Metaverse float parade with, just say it out loud, right? Like the Metaverse float parade powered by Fractillions, Metageist, Jin, Boombox Head. Like, I don't think there's really like a set plan in place, or maybe Jin has had like something, in the backlogs for a while, but like whatever that is, like I want to be at that thing, which will be November 30th, and it will be dope.
Boom. There you go. Mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, see you in the Metaverse tomorrow, dude.
Sounds good, man. Have a good one.
Peace.